I'm not normally one for sports pressers. You usually get a bunch of canned answers or sometimes not real answers at all. A lot of talking while saying very little. But for this game, Jared Bednar summed it up pretty well.
We were no good. We just looked tired. Execution's bad. Mentally not sharp. So happens. Looked like we didn't have no energy though, right from the drop of the puck.
I could not have said it better myself. Avs lose to the Chicago Blackhawks 5-2. There are very few redeeming qualities about this game. The Avs have plenty of excuses, but people don't care about excuses. The Avs were awful for the majority of this game, and they got the result they deserved. Hockey do be weird, though. Their worst period was the only period of the game that they scored goals in, so that's silly. It's a back-to-back game for the Avalanche. You knew they were not going to have legs for a full 60 minutes. At the NHL level, you just run out of gas when you play back-to-backs. So starting the game by taking 2 penalties in the first 7 minutes is bad. They managed to kill the first one, but they can't kill the second one. Avs have actually been very good through most of this penalty kill. They've given Chicago almost nothing to this point, but Chicago finds a pretty darn easy entry and an initial shot that isn't great, but they're able to find on the rebound to maintain possession and get a full setup in the zone. And the Avs, meanwhile, run into each other and kind of just stop defending the play entirely. Yeah, seems bad. That leaves the upper part of the ice completely uncontested as you only have one forward high and essentially a line of 3 guys to defend one Blackhawk down low. Seems bad. So as this play develops, you see it walk in, and this is just a wind-up slap shot from the point. I'm sorry, but this is not quality screening. Georgiev should be able to find this puck. Maybe it's just an unbelievable shot that blows past him, but you really don't know what to do at that point. Let him see it. If you have problems with screening, I don't know what to do. Yep, that's definitely a hockey goal of all time. So the Avs immediately put themselves in a hole. Thankfully, they're able to erase that mistake pretty quickly. The Blackhawks are going to float a puck towards the Avs net here. It's never really going to make it and bounce out. Malinsky recognizes it and is able to just win the race to this puck, but a very, very good read from him to recognize, hey, there are Blackhawks behind him, and he has ice to skate into. He uses his feet to break out this puck and create an odd man rush for a 3-on-2 for the Avs. He helps them by gaining the zone before making a simple play to drop that puck back to LOC after getting the defender to commit to him. From here, the initial play is not a ton of interesting stuff. You're going to get cut off at the pass here, and Kovalenko is going to be defended by the trailing forward. But the Blackhawks have not back-checked behind that well, which leaves Casey Mittelstadt cruising into the zone, and a good job by Logan O'Connor to get his head up and recognize he has Mittelstadt as an option on this play. Now you've created a high-danger chance, and those are good. Look, Casey Mittelstadt keeps his point streak going. That's a nice play. Sam Malinsky, I thought, was the only Avs player you could actually qualify as good in this game. There are good things there. It's a good goal. It's an opportunity for the Avs to actually be competitive in this game. Here's the problem. That goal is one of only 2 shots the Avs put on net at 5-on-5 in the first period. Yes, it was that bad. And it's an Avs game with Alexander Georgiev in net, so you know that goal is coming back in less than a minute the other way. I mean, look, if the Avs win this face-off, they don't get scored on, so I guess that's true. Blackhawks win the face-off, a puck gets thrown towards the net. It's going to get tipped on the way in. All of that does happen. When it gets tipped, it slows down immensely. This puck, I don't want to say trickles. It's a little faster than a trickle, I guess. Trickles towards Georgiev, but he doesn't read the tip at all. He doesn't see the puck, and he leaves his 5-hole open, and that's how one slips into your net. Look, I'm not here to rehash blaming or not blaming Georgiev. I don't really care whose fault that is, and I'm not going to strictly blame Georgiev here. I'm blaming every single player on the Avalanche for this game. No one was good enough. At the end of this game, the Avs played horribly, and honestly, they probably deserved to lose by more than they did. And it looked like things were going to get out of hand as the first period was winding down. Well, defending along the wall here, Cale Makar's stick is going to break, which means now he can't defend effectively for this possession. And you see it almost works out here as the Avs defend initially okay here, and MacKinnon probably overcommits down deep because of that broken stick, but it leaves a bunch of room up high. And you can see there's almost a handoff here. Makar is reaching for a stick. He almost gets Mikko's stick to play with here, but ultimately he doesn't. So when this shot eventually comes in, Makar has no stick to play with. Makar has to purely outmuscle and outposition a player, and we've had this conversation a million times. The Avs don't do that effectively. Makar just cannot defend effectively net front without his stick, and that's going to result in a rebound chance. I don't know, is that even a rebound? I guess it bounces off of Makar in front, but a chance for a puck squibbling in front of the net that Makar simply can't defend against. Is there some bad luck there? Sure, but the Avs earned it. They just got outplayed in every single facet of the game in the first period. It was just some of the worst hockey the Avs have played this entire year, if I'm being honest. Then Chicago takes 2 penalties and gives the Avs a 5-on-3. Georgiev actually gets an assist on this play, so that's neat. The best plays usually don't need a whole lot of description. Makar picks up this puck. Makar sends it up the ice to MacKinnon. The camera work is bad, but MacKinnon go fast. MacKinnon go around the outside. MacKinnon makes Seth Jones look real dumb. MacKinnon cut to the net, and MacKinnon beat the goalie. Hey, that's a great play from Nathan MacKinnon. There's no doubt about that. It's very cool to watch a really good player do really cool stuff. The problem is, that was the only quality play of the night for MacKinnon. And for Makar, who, by the way, gets his 10-game point streak with a point on that play. So, at least on an individual level, you're hitting some milestones. But the reality was, the Avs lose that period by just 1 goal, which is way better than they deserved, and they just didn't play well enough to overcome the gap they created for themselves. The second and third periods were better, technically, but the Avs were still garbage at 5-on-5 in those periods, and the game as a whole, they failed to execute the little details for most of the game just entirely. It was bad. Losing puck battles, failing to make basic passes, the usual stuff that you see this team struggle with when they're just in one. From the Avs' perspective, the rest of this game is hardly worth talking about. They just did not generate enough of anything effective throughout the rest of the game. I will say, I do think Georgiev played better in the second and third periods. He gave the Avs an opportunity if they could find one more goal to get back into this game. Does not excuse the first period, though. And the Avs just did not capitalize on the opportunity given to them. Multiple power play opportunities in the second period fall to the wayside. Again, the 5-on-5 was just trash. And all of this is whatever. It's a bad game. They lost. Okay, fine. You just won 5 in a row. One hand, you don't feel too bad. On the other hand, you're 5-5 because of the losing streak you started with the season, so you can't afford games like this nearly as much. But the game itself is a bad loss that I can move on from. What I struggle with is the Avs also lose Ross Colton in this game. He blocked a shot with his foot. During the live watch, I even joked that he probably broke a toe. Unfortunately, it looked like he broke a toe. I'm not asking the Avs to be okay with this game because it was bad. Injuries, back-to-back, rested, not, tired, goaltender, whatever issue you want to bring up, that's not a good enough hockey game by any metric. But what I will say is I'm tired of all of these injured players. I'm just tired. And I don't even mean the longer-term ones like Landeskog being out. But every season it feels like the Avs go into it, and every time they seem to find some stability in their top 6, somebody gets hurt. It's Ross Colton. It's Jonathan Drouin. It's Artturi Lehkonen repeatedly. And I don't know what you do. I don't think there's anything you can do, but hopefully get a little bit luckier going forward. But year after year after year, it's the Avs just getting hurt left and right. Their lineup being half of an AHL team. And somehow, every other team in the NHL that is good seems to get a stretch of health. While the Avs just have to find ways to win games with a forward core that should not be in the NHL if it's not for their top guys. It's unbelievably frustrating, and the part of that that's frustrating is the lack of control. A bad game is something the Avs can actively go out and fix. Losing Ross Colton for who knows how long is just a problem that gets dropped on their head that there's nothing they can do about. And the Avs will be fine. They're going to get Artturi Lehkonen back really soon, and more guys coming back not too long after that. It's not going to be a disaster unless they continue to get even more injuries, but it's hard. It's hard, man. The Avs made their own grave a little bit at the start of the season, absolutely, but they need things to go their way on occasion to really put together the season that they're capable of. You're lying to yourself if you don't think good luck, especially on the injury front, isn't a huge factor every single season for the team that ends up on top. 2 empty netters are what get you to the 5-2 scoreline. Again, even with a 1-goal game, the Avs just did not play well enough to deserve that comeback, so I don't really have a problem with that. I don't think this game is indicative of anything when it comes to the Avs play. It's a bad Sega Baba where nothing worked. It's fine. They'll be better next game. You move on with your life. Short one. I've had plenty of long ones, and I'm tired of the injuries. So thank you for watching. I am Rudo, and if I was playing hockey, I'm sure I would get hurt too.